In 1950, the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, won the Civil War and invaded Tibet. Tibet saw this invasion as an interruption of centuries of independent nationalism. China, on the other hand, saw this invasion as simply regaining what they had lost. In the past, they had lost Tibet because of imperialism and the Civil War. In 1959, the people from Tibet were angry and started an uprising against the Chinese government, but it was violently stopped by the Chinese. The Chinese government created the Tar in 1965, creating Tibet's regional autonomy. But even though this was established, Tibetans still have very little control over their own territory. China controls Tibet's politics, economics, culture, and they are all controlled by Beijing. This ongoing conflict is often viewed as ethnic and religious because the biggest problem that causes this conflict is the Chinese rejection to Tibet's religion, Buddhism. Their notable ethnical differences from the Tibetan citizens are what causes these problems also. The majority of Chinese citizens are Han Chinese, and Tibetans are left in the small minority. The most important part of this issue is that these Tibetans are Buddhists and the Chinese are not. The Chinese government has a history of persecuting large religions that could put in danger the regime's hold on power. But Buddhism in Tibet is one of these religions that has this potential power, and the Chinese have security and sovereignty concerns because the Buddhists can get a lot of followers. In March 2008, Tibet monks broke out in protest all over the Tibet area, as well as ethnical Tibetan areas around it. Some of these specific protests resulted in extreme violence and riots. This resulted in destruction and burning of Han Chinese stores and properties. In these riots, 19 people were killed, mostly Chinese. Because they were mostly Chinese, the Chinese government's response was very radical. The killing of over 100 unarmed Tibetans was the result, and most of them were monks. This issue is currently still going on, but what can we do to help? This issue isn't very famous in the global scene. However, the United Nations has founded a committee to raise awareness among the global population of the situation that exists in Tibet, and donations to the cause are available. You can help by respecting other religions and making sure that you are never a contributor to this kind of exclusion to other ethnic groups or other religions.